Hi, I'm Tamara Merrill, and it's my pleasure today to talk with author and SDWEG board member Janet Travers. It's lovely to see you this morning, Janet.
Hello, Tamara. How are you?
I'm just fine. We have a good time when we're doing interviews, and I really am going to enjoy talking to you today. Very briefly, tell the audience what SDWEG is, how long you've been a member, a little bit, just a minute or two about why you participate.
I moved back to California, San Diego in 2023, and a friend of mine and I write, and she said, "You should join this organization." I just do what I'm told sometimes. So I did it, and it happened very quickly. I went to a luncheon that was hosted by Marty Schroeder, who's a former president of SDWEG, San Diego Writers and Editors Guild. And she immediately tackled me and said, "You should be on the board of directors." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. What does that mean?" And she said, "It doesn't matter." So I did.
Excellent.
And then I started going to board meetings and learning more, not talking much in the beginning. On the board, I'm at large, which means I'm filling in the cracks. If you need help, I'm happy to show up. And I show up and do things. And the writers' festivals, I did three of them, which means being behind the table and meeting people and talking to people. The big benefit, there are two that I'm thinking of right now, and that is it'll get you published if you write something that's accepted into the anthology. So that's how I started. First time I got published for real was in the anthology. So now one thing leads to another. I entered a couple of contests. Now I'm in three different anthologies. Yay. And this is all because of the guild. And then very importantly is my critique group. I immediately joined it. It's been more than 2 solid years, once a week, 3 hours at a shot. I'm the only female, which makes it a little interesting. And I'm the facilitator, which just means you pull all this stuff up.
And you found your critique group through SDWEG?
All through SDWEG. Yeah. They're all members and it's absolutely invaluable.
We'll probably talk about that a little more when we talk about your process. But the Gilded Pen, which is the 13th edition of this anthology, is the first time ever it's been all short stories. There are 35 stories in it by 29 authors, some of them more famous than others, but all of them members. It is, as you said, one of the benefits of memberships. This year's anthology not only had to be all short stories, the theme was what comprises good luck or bad luck. And the anthology itself is named Good Luck with That. The story that you have in it is Eleanor's Learning. What prompted you to write that story? How did you think it fit the theme and where did you get the idea?
I think I have a running theme because I'm fascinated or interested in it in love. How do people do it? What makes it work? And this started a long time ago, or I feel like I'm spying on the world. You can spot a good couple and you can spot a crappy couple with 100 yards. That's all there is to it. But I was trying to fool around with luck, not good luck or bad luck. It's luck. So if it's good luck, good for you. Yippee. Congratulations. If it's bad luck, you're going to have to figure out how to get out of the situation. So that is not bad luck. That's what I'm not calling it. You're going to have to get out of it. And if you don't, you're not interesting anyway.
And jumps me to the thought that it sounds to me like you like character driven writing.
It's
And that
all
you
100% character driven. When I grow up, I hope I add more descriptions of the setting and the blue tablecloths, but it's all about the characters. Absolutely. And trying to use the words of what that they say
like
so
real
that people
people. Yeah.
to get the gist of the story.
So I love the fact that you said you're fascinated by relationships. You said love, but you're talking about relationships in general, and that you spy on people to get your ideas. Because I think all writers do that. Tell me a little bit about that. Like when you're in a restaurant, do you eavesdrop?
Of course, I get all teary a little bit because I'm whatever. If I see somebody put their hand on the other person's back, if I see them spray sunscreen on their face at a ball game, the Padres, not just hold the door open of the car. It's being polite, listening, looking, laughing, and don't. If I think most people will agree with me, that's what I'm trying to condense into my writing. Is when it's not there, it hurts. You can see it, and I find it to be painful. If they interrupt, I don't even mean being rude because then you know that relationship's a goner.
Yeah.
But if you're not still looking at them, if you just don't say, "You look cute today," or "Oh, look at you, yum." I don't care what it is, and it's not just looks, of course. It's
Interaction.
feeling about caring
Yeah.
and saying, "I'm sorry." That's up there. That's not
So, is this always the topic you write the most about? I'm sure, like all other writers, you probably wrote early. Did you?
early. I actually performed. I'm a singer. I was in lots of bands when I was young, and I did write some songs. No, they were not at all. It's like the Chambermaid Blues was my big one. Actually,
I
was a chambermaid in a hotel, like a dumpy hotel where you find a fish in the drawer. We found it. Yeah, it was out near the water. This is Long Island, and then there's a stage I went through where being an older stay-at-home mom, I was writing about the other women I was meant to be forced to be with.
Yeah.
Yes. I belong to all of the PTA and all that stuff, volunteer in the library. And it's these people who I'm the fish out of water. I couldn't run away. And I knew I was then you find that you're going to be with them the next 8 years.
Yeah.
So you better not screw up. You better be good and don't say it. But
Play the role
being
correctly.
not being able to run away is what really got me. I've got maybe 40 of these. Why don't they like me? Maybe they like me. Maybe I'm too sensitive. What drives them?
Jumping a little ahead here, because you just made this interesting to me. Let's say you really do have 40 short stories. Are you considering putting them together in a short story book?
Absolutely, sure.
Don't forget the one about the fish in the drawer. I have no idea how the fish got there or what it smelled like, but the idea of being in a hotel room and opening up the door and finding a fish, it's funny. That would be a very funny scene.
It's a summer place where I'm from at the end of Long Island. I think you get a little drunk and you put a fish in the drawer. Oh, and then the teenager's gonna come in and make your bed. I think it was sloppy. That wasn't mean. I don't even think it was mean.
Probably not, but it is a good scene in some story about relationship. I don't know how it would work in, but I do like the idea. What are you working on now? Do you write a lot of short stories or do you write in the novel format? What are you doing?
Thank you for that nice segue because it was at one of the San Diego Writers Editors Guild get-togethers, and I read one of the stories, and the reaction was good. And I realized I worked hard. There's got to be something that I really like in every one of them. Otherwise, you have to throw it out. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
So,
agree. Yep.
so this one, it built a novel around it because a lot of people talked to me, said, that's funny. I feel what I've not read anything like that. I'm on chapter 18 of a novel that started with that short story. So I had to tweak it a bit to be the first chapter, but I really didn't have a hard time because I just know this is one of my favorite characters. This is a character that you just is so obnoxious,
Yep.
is a ball to write about. It's like would you rather be, if you're an actor to be the lead character, or would you rather be the character actor? And I'd rather be the character.
But
Yeah,
it's
it was
more
that
interesting to be the character actor with more, I shouldn't say this, but more personality, I guess, than the stereotypical perfect girl that is maybe the lead, but it's way more fun to be the troublemaker little sister or the mean stepmother than it is to be the star of the show, I would think. That actually, so how does being on stage and singing relate to your writing? Do you find that kind of creeps in? How does all of that hook together for writing?
for starters, because I was thinking about this before our interview here. I've been interpreting and getting criticized since I'm 15. That's when I started actually performing and making money and stuff. So I can actually take the hits. I really think not all the time. And you cry a lot. And that's why I like talking to people. I talk too much. It's like Tourette's without the twitches and the cursing. But I've been doing it for a long time. So if somebody says something's not really working, you're not going to argue. You cannot argue and say, I'm right, you're wrong. You got to do, you have to do what they want. So that's what I'm very grateful for. It just seems to be the next step that came naturally would be to write. I've been taking notes my whole life about things, but really going for broke and working hard on the short stories probably happened when my youngest kid was 3 in preschool, and I was going crazy. You're running the house and with your kids and all this stuff, but I really started cracking down and just knocked them out. They weren't any good, but I was at least knocking them out to fix later, and now that's
Well,
why I have this many of them.
don't you believe that a writer learns to write by writing? Yes. So we all have some pretty big failures in the background, but sometimes those turn into something amazing later when you go back and look at it and say, "Oh, this is a good plot. I can turn it into a novel." Like you're saying, take giving the critique, I assume like at a group, and then saying, "Wow, that's funny, and that would be a good novel." That's probably true of really all 40 of your stories in some form or another. So I assume you find your writers group a critical part of your process.
Yes, I wanna laugh every day, and I'm sorry if I have to make myself laugh. I'd rather that somebody was helping me out. But if I can piss my guys off so much in my group, they hate this character so much, and we have these discussions like, "What is your problem, though? Is it because it's a woman? She's promiscuous. It's you gotta make it a little crazy and risque. She's so wealthy, and she's this and that." I can't tell the whole story at all, but I was really interested in how much they hated her. I'm knocking a chapter out a week. We meet for 3 hours, and no matter what,
How long do you write? Do you write every day? Do you write once a week? How do you get a chapter a week? How disciplined are you?
I wish I would not have to clean the house first. That's a silly answer, but it's true. I'm not that cleanophobe. What am I
Yeah.
saying? What if I can't have any dishes in the sink and it can't be a bloody mess and that type of thing. So I've listened to so many interviews, and that's why I like interviewing, by the way, for the Guild for this anthology. Oh, I start at 8 and I end at 9, and then I have tea, and then I have lunch at 12, and I take a I don't do any of that. If I can get there at 12 and do at least 3 hours, maybe a day, I would really like to be one of those 5-hour people. It's just not possible with my life, with my family and stuff like that. I've never been on a retreat. I can't wait. But not to be interrupted. I heard John Cleese say he's got a terrific book about I think it's called Creative Writing, 125 pages long, the greatest book. Anything he says is right as far as I'm concerned. But if you're interrupted, it'll take you 10 to 20 minutes to get back into your head.
Oh, I think that's probably true. So,
Maybe it's longer for some people.
and some people can't get back at all. So, do you plot your books, your stories out, or do you just are you just a pantser? When do you write? How do you write?
I know what I'm going to do, but I do not have it all plotted out. And I hope in the future that I can. But honestly, one thing leads to another. And that's the same thing when you make yourself laugh. I didn't plan it.
Yeah.
I'm just really working hard at it. And then and it's all if you see the whole character in your head and where they are and what's happening. I can see the color of the walls. You know what's going on.
Do you think you write mostly w- women's fiction, which is a genre I hate that when they use the word women's fiction, but like contemporary fiction, is that your most common genre to write in, or do you?
I don't like women's fiction either because it's just saying
Yeah,
she's
so I don't like that. So
yeah. So if I just skip that out, I didn't know I'd say this again. It's like the third time. Being with guys, if they really like what I'm doing, I am not intentionally writing for women. That's insulting or something to me.
I think it demeans a good novel to tag it with the title women's fiction because it makes it sound like it is only for women. And I think everything that's written by anyone, everyone should try it. Everyone should read it and see whether it's for them or not. Yeah, I don't like that title.
The only difference I have is with when they read it and they'll say, that's not realistic. That somebody wouldn't do that. And I know 5 people that did it. That's the difference between a man and a woman is I'm telling you, I did it. I fell down the steps. As a reader, that's your interpretation. That's what you think as one person, one individual. But yes, it can happen.
But don't you think that's more a construct of the writers group, the critiquing process? Because as a reader, I'm reading this, and I'm believing this character, and this character would say and do that. So the fact that your mother wouldn't have said and done it, or your sister, or that this character might do stuff that no one else has ever done before. I think that sounds to me like part of that is the critiquing process, because in your critique partner's brain, they're thinking, nobody I know did that, so that's wrong. But this character's doing it, so therefore it's right, because this is what this character does. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I find that interesting. It's fascinating how it all works out. The whole idea of writing for contemporary readers leads me to, what do you like to read? Do you read in that same genre?
I was thinking of the authors that I like, and I'm so glad it is diverse because absolutely not. I personally don't have a problem with romance or whatever, but I don't read romance. But if I'm surprised I like violent stuff sometimes. James Lee Burke, I read all his books, and that's tough. And what you learn from it is enormous about life, about everything. No, if I look at like books over here, I got the new Stephen King book, Jodi Picoult. I love her. Well, they're not the same, but they're all
That's
good.
perfect.
At that, they're all good. I'd like to read more nonfiction, more biographies, but I'm just sucked up into stories because it's enjoyable. I'm always trying to figure out life. I don't know when that'll happen when I'm dead, probably.
Yeah. Do you research for your stories, or are they just coming to you?
When you start them, you have to do research because you have to know what you can't get it wrong. You can't guess. I feel very lucky that I started writing with the day and age of computers. I don't have to go to the library. At the end of the day, when I look at how many pages I have open on my phone or my computer, it's a lot. And then you can't take one source. You have to be thorough and go five. We were talking before. If you were going to say I don't know anything about guns. If I say somebody cocked a gun, a million trillion people are going to know how to do that and what it means. If I needed to include that, I'd have to really research it to get it right because you can't get it wrong. I'm from New York. If I said it somewhere in Queens, I might call my cousin to make sure I'm correct. What's the name of that bridge
That goes from here to there. Yeah.
the name of that one part that went over there with the cemeteries on both sides? You know what I mean? I don't know the names where I'm from, the names of the streets. I can get anywhere, but I don't. So that's what I mean by research.
That's very important. That's what gives your stories believable details, because people look stuff like that up on Google nowadays. So if you say they were on the East River Expressway, but actually there's only a West River Expressway, people are going to notice that. I do think research is really important. Did you always know you wanted to be a writer, or was this a later decision for
I
you?
think I knew I would be. I just got this. Of course, I remembered, but a, a really great friend of mine from high school sent me a picture. There was a magazine we had in high school called Stone Soup. And I love telling the truth, it's better. It's all nepotism because both my sisters were the editors of it. And then I became the editor of it, not because I earned it. But then you think, did anybody earn it? I was in honors English or whatever. That's not tooting a horn here. I'm just saying. Well, I got in as a literary editor when I was a junior, and then I became the editor when I was a senior. Of course, not freshman, sophomore, because you're like 14, 50, you don't know what you're doing. So I got used to analyzing it. It was a ball, and that was just a lot of time, and it was enjoyable. Back then, girls weren't even really in sports. I think it was like the year behind me. But I was doing this. I was on the literary magazine of our
Did you?
school, and after that, just jotting stuff down. No, did I always know I would say yes.
What would your adult self tell your high school self to make it smoothly through your 20s and 30s?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to say just the confidence factor because it took me so long to not listen to what people, the naysayers, whatever your environment was in your family, if it wasn't that positive, let's say criticism, it's just to do it. Just do it. And you don't have to have everybody cheering you on, but
Would
just
you
to
get
know that
Sorry,
You
finish.
no, just to it's kind it sounds so too broad, but just to do what you want, give it your all, and I did do that in some areas. A lot of it just seems like a long time ago when women were different. I know you're a little older than me, but at my age, it was the same
Yeah,
of,
and we're still not all the way there, to be perfectly honest. Is that the same advice you would give a new writer? I don't care what age they are, but would you, if you were to meet someone or a new person comes into your critique group that is very unseasoned and they're very unsure of themselves, would you give them the same kind of advice? Just do it.
yeah, I would say just we can tweak and make you better. It's the initial idea is all that matters. It has to be interesting. What are you giving me here? Why am I reading it?
Yeah.
It's working hard. It is. You don't settle. That's huge. Don't ever settle. I've interviewed people. I would say, "Why did you marry him?" I didn't think anybody would ask me. Those are the saddest words I've ever heard in my life. Look at you now, baby. You're not happy. So
Yeah, the same thing is what I really want to do is this, but I settled for this because I never thought I could do that. And that is sad. That's a sad commentary.
you'll
So
be saying, I'm still not entirely there. Even the people you think awesome, they're not there either. And I like to know that is to have faith in yourself because it's like having faith, period, right? You don't know what's going to happen, but you just have
keep
to
going.
and do not have people around you who don't.
I think that's a really true statement on so many levels. None of us are ever there. I have a feeling that you can be 110 on a deathbed and you're going to think, if I just, I'm almost there. I've almost got it. And that doesn't mean you're dissatisfied with your life as it is. It just means that it's really fun to always keep changing and growing. So that's a good thing. You're just,
And to know that I've met a lot of people older than me lately that you can still be a whiner at 90.
exactly.
Talk about your mother? Are you kidding me? And what in my childlike mind, I'm thinking, didn't we all, what is it, 60? What age is it? You think that's done. I'm done with that. And they're still saying my sister got the better dress.
Which means we will always have plots put in our books, Janet, because those things still all matter to people. So when you're choosing a book to read, you say you read in a lot of genres. What do you think draws you to the book? Obviously, you named some big name authors. And
Yeah.
so we all pick up those books to see whether or not we want to read them. So that in that case, I would say it was the big name author. But you're in a bookstore like Mysterious Galaxy here in San Diego, which has a wide range of books, and a lot of them are debut books by local authors. So what do you think draws you to a book? The title, the cover, what?
I could be a looky person if the bottle of wine is the same thing. You got a nice looking label. I'm going to pick it up and check it out before another one. That's a fun question because is this snotty to say if it's got a tacky looking cover, I'm probably not even going to pick it up. But usually it's the synopsis.
So
Flip it
what's
over.
on the back of the book?
I'm going to have a lot of people help me with mine because I think it's so important. You
So
kidding?
when you pick up a book, do you read the first page of it?
I read the back first, always.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be nosy. I'm going to read about the author. And
Yeah.
then I'll read the first page, and then I'll just never read the end. I don't even I can't talk about that. It annoys me so much. But I will flip right to the middle and look at a paragraph and see what's happening. And because you're looking for good writing,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's all. But certainly, like, does everybody go, "Oh, that's interesting. I want to read that."
I don't know. I think everybody has their own way, but
You
I
do.
do
You look at the back and
the cover, of course. A good cover causes you to pick up the book. And a crummy cover or a cover that makes me believe it is a genre that I'm not interested in, I will just skip that book unless someone else has told me you need to read this, and then I'll look. But I am a last page of the book reader. I read the first page. I flip to the middle to see whether or not I can stand the writing. And then I read the last page of the book. And if I don't like the ending, I don't take the book. And I'm very judgmental. I admit that. I'm very judgmental. I just assume I know whether or not this is going to be good. But if you said to me, Tamara, I know this book looks terrible, but it was actually really good, then I would read it. I'm really good at taking people's recommendations. So, how do you feel about reviews when you're choosing? Do you pay attention to reviews?
one of the wonderful questions you created that I'm asking the other people being interviewed. What did you have around your house? Very fortunate that the New Yorker and the New York Times were a regular part of our household. So from a young age, and my mother was a big reader, but there you go. It's the reviews. I
Mhm.
would, at a pretty young age, be reading book reviews.
And you're reading good writing. Yeah. So you got started young with looking at good writing and good writing of reviews.
And it was the New Yorker. So
Good reviews. I don't want any spoilers in my reviews. I just want you to tell me that you are really going to love this because of this, whatever. So, what's next for you? What are you, besides interviewing all of these authors all over San Diego, what's next for you? What do you have in your goal tree?
let me finish this, which there's not much left. I'm not that educated where I can tell you how many words it is, but
Yeah.
18 times, what is that, 40,000? I know
Yeah,
people
you know
that
what? It
way.
doesn't matter. Word count, when the story's done, the story's done. And then the editing comes in and it becomes however many words it does with the editor. But if you got 18 chapters, you're headed toward a novel.
When I finish it, I'm actually looking forward to doing it all. It's not starting from scratch. I want to learn. Don't get scared by such negativity of writers talking about how hard and difficult and painful and it is. I just can't. We've all been through enough in life. I can't listen to that. So when it's all finished, can't wait to go back to the beginning and fix it. Cause I can't remember Susan's husband's name. Like mortified. I keep listening to interviews and they're like, oh, I have charts. I remember I'm too new to know that. I'm knocking it out. And if I just can't remember a little name, I don't feel bad about myself, to tell the truth. But once this is in a play world, a pretend world, once that's done, I would have had this whole short story book ready to give to somebody. But I jumped into the novel. And that is, I did listen to people. I'm still listening to people. Maybe I shouldn't, but they're saying nobody reads short stories. No one's ever going to read a book, short stories. And I go, to hell with you. I'm going to do it anyway.
I have to tell you, Curtis, I think her last name is Smithfield or something. I know it starts with an S. She has a book of short stories on the bestseller list right now. Good short stories are always read. Don't let people think they're not. And in our world, we now have so much of our stuff that is audio. And you're just doing your exercise routine. So a 20-minute short story is perfect as opposed to devoting 12 hours to listen to this book. My own belief would be short stories are going to become more popular again because they're quick to read and quick to listen to and they fit into your life. So we just got away from it, I think, because the magazines went online. So keep writing short stories. I think it's a good thing. Anything else you'd like to tell our listeners about what it means to be an author for you or how you feel about it?
I'm just very grateful that this time of my life that I can do it. What would I do if I wasn't doing this? Meaning it's that important to me. I've heard people, again, I just try to listen to what words come out of people's mouths. If you want to get all zen about it, you got to create your own happiness. I feel very good about not trying to get it from outside sources. So I might be a more fun person to be around if I'm happy more of the time than not.
I think that's quite an endorsement for what writing does for you. When you're done, no matter how tired you are, when you're feeling satisfied and fulfilled with it, you know you're going to make better friends and be a better friend and be a more interesting person because you're happy.
I want to use you. I love when you said you don't get writer's block because you'll just start write something else. If you're in one story, then go write a letter to a friend.
That is my philosophy. This isn't my interview, but I'm going to say this anyway. I'm that way in my whole life. If this doesn't feel right, then stop doing it and do something else for a while. And maybe you'll come back to it and maybe you won't. And on that note, so you came to San Diego and obviously from Long Island. And I know you've been many other places in the world, but does it feel like San Diego is your permanent home now?
Here's the deal. At 19, I left and went to San Diego State. So that's a long time ago. And I already had my AA. So I just got my bachelor's at San Diego State. And I was an actor at the time. And then I've been here ever since. I feel like a Californian, feel very comfortable here. I've lived quite a few places in California. Maybe there's a love affair. Look, I'm wearing Padres. I like the Mets. It's just a very personal, loving thing. I love San Diego. So if anything, it would be a big connection. I just was lived in Long Island for 5 years, and now I've been here 2.5 back here. So I need to be in both places. That's to visit. I tried to live there full time, and it's just not for me.
S- I love Long Island, but come on, San Diego, we've got the weather, we've got the water, we've got the Padres, we've got it all in San Diego. If we just want to brag about our place, we got the best weather in the world, right?
Amazing. I won't get into. I just went 2 days ago, just 2 hours north of here. It was so hot.
Janet, it was great talking to you. I want to thank you for all the interviews you're doing for the rest of the writers.
You made me feel very comfortable. Thank you. And I'm looking forward. The two of us, we're working together beautifully with these people, our lovely authors. And thank you for interviewing me.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.